If you're looking for a simple and inexpensive way to spice up your diet, look no further. Paninis are sure to completely change the game for you, whether at breakfast, lunch, dinner, or anything in between. I've been making paninis on and off for about 5 years, ever since my family purchased this George Foreman grill, and I really got back into it during quarantine. So after years of perfecting this recipe, I've discovered that even the simplest sandwiches can be turned into delicacies after being paninied. With just a few extra minutes of cooking time, your boring old ham and cheese sandwich can be completely transformed. So today I'm going to be walking you through the steps involved in creating one of my favorite paninis, and I think you'll see how simple it really is. So first, we're going to lay out all of the materials you're going to need for this. So you'll need some bread first of all, obviously. You're going to want to use a thicker bread, just so that when you put it into the press it doesn't completely get flattened, and more hearty breads will hold up better to the temperatures of cooking as well. Then you're going to want some mayonnaise to spread on there just to give it a little more flavor and color as well. And then you're going to need your filler ingredients. So paninis are very versatile foods, so you can use them for pretty much any meal you want, or snack for that matter. If you're going to do a breakfast sandwich, you could do something more like eggs or peanut butter and jelly. If you want to do a snack, you could do s'mores, peanut butter with chocolate and maybe some marshmallow or something like that in there. Or otherwise you could do some pie filling. But today we're going to be doing a more dinner-oriented sandwich. So those typically have meats and cheeses, some vegetables maybe, some avocado. Today we're doing a club sandwich though. So that has your ham and turkey on it, some cheeses, and some lettuce and tomato as well. And then of course you'll need a grill for that. So we're using a George Foreman. You're going to want to plug it in so that it starts preheating. That just gives your bread, it makes it cook faster, and it has some better results as well. George Foreman's or pretty much any grill can be purchased pretty cheap at Walmart or Target for under $20, and even with such a low price they last for quite a long time. And then you'll also want like a clean space to prepare your food. I'm just using a cutting board here. And then you'll need a plate to put it on afterwards, and some kind of a utensil to transfer your sandwich from the press onto your plate. So I'm just using a fork for that. Alright, now that we have all our ingredients, we can begin to assemble this panini and really make it take shape. So after you have them all laid out here, that just makes the process a lot easier and makes it go faster. So first, you're going to want your bread. And then you're going to spread some mayonnaise on there, pretty thick, just to give it that nice base. So there's that. And then you're going to start with the bottom piece. With French bread it's pretty thick, so it doesn't make a huge difference, but okay. So this is our bottom one. We're going to want to first put the ham on there just to give it that solid base. And that way your ingredients won't seep into the bread and cause it to turn soggy. Next you're going to want some cheese. This really just holds the sandwich all together, gives it some nice flavor. I'm using 2 different kinds of cheese here. Some pepper jack to give it a little more spice, and some sharp cheddar as well. Then you're going to want to add your lettuce and tomato. That just gives it a fresh kick in there. Depending on your preferences, you can adapt this as you'd like. And then seal it off with some turkey on top. Again, that just prevents the bread from getting too soggy because tomatoes can tend to be pretty juicy and run into the bread. So then you'll just put that piece right there on top. There it is. It's pretty thick, but now that it's assembled, it is time to cook it. Cooking is actually the easiest part of this whole process because the grill does all the work for you. So you're going to transfer this panini onto the grill. Might be a little tricky just because of how thick it is, but as it cooks it flattens itself out a little more. That's where the fork comes in handy again, so you don't burn your fingers. Just kind of holding that in there, and then waiting until it is fully golden brown and the cheese is all melted. Depending on which type of grill you're using and what sandwich you're making, the process can have a different cooking time. This one typically takes around 5 minutes or less. Some grills have little lights on the top like this one. You can see that it's red right now, but as soon as it's done, it will turn green for you. Otherwise, just checking it periodically to make sure it's looking as you want. You can push it in there a little more as it flattens out. And if you want style points, you can turn it sideways so that the grill lines on there have a nice cross-hatching pattern. That's just how I like to do it, but you don't have to do that if you wouldn't like to. Now that this one is cooking, I actually have a finished one right here just so you can see what that looks like. See, it's flattened out like that, nice and easy to fit in your mouth, pretty delicious. So you can transfer that back to the plate. You would use this fork like we talked about before. So now that that's finished, you can either devour it yourself or share it with a friend. So I hope today you've seen how simple it is to gather all your panini materials, assemble a delicious sandwich, and turn it into a flavorful panini in just a few minutes. I hope that walking through this process has really convinced you to try out panini making for yourself. Trust me, you won't regret it. And if you'll excuse me, I have a panini I need to eat. Thanks for watching.